Could the Cowboys actually see somebody not named Tedero McMillan and Matthew Golden as their ideal and maybe most complete wide receiver fit? A guy that upgrades the Cowboys wide receiver room, my direct quote from yesterday, more so than any of the other two or three that most people seem to think is the direction the Cowboys will be headed. Emeka Egbuka, like I said, talked about this yesterday. Why, in my opinion, he's a guy that at least day one might improve the Cowboys receiver room more than any other player at the receiver position, of course. But we got some more supportive evidence for the case behind Emeka Egbuka as the Cowboys' potential first-round selection from every member of the Cowboys panel at the podium during their pre-draft press conference today. That includes Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Brian Schottenheimer, and Will McClay. Let's dig in. Because I think people are sleeping on Emeka Egbuka just a little bit too much. I'm Lando from The Lando Show.
All right.
And this is Sports Below the Surface.
I am inevitable.
And before we fully tap in here to Emeka, I will say that you're probably seeing this after the Kelvin Banks video that I just released gets officially posted. Please make sure you check that one out. You won't regret it. And it ties into it's. There's a similar parallel that you'll see. All right, these two kind of coincide. So, without further ado, let's tap in to our guy Emeka Egbuka. I'm excited for Thursday, by the way. While we're waiting on this video to get rolling here, let me know. I want y'all to tell me how many quarterbacks y'all think are going in round one, and then how many of those quarterbacks how many of that number is going inside the top 10? Because there's I can see it going quite a few different ways. I just want to know what the general consensus is. You guys talk to me in the comments a little bit. I'd be curious to see what y'all's thoughts are. All right, here we go. Of offense. Emeka Egbuka isn't 6'5" or 4'2", like Tet and Golden. But I do think that he is more of an upgrade to the Cowboys receiver room day one than either of those two guys in the running game. Impacting both phases of offense. I'm telling you right now, when Brian Schottenheimer talks about changing your country club culture, getting more physical, being more downhill and aggressive, right? Condensing the formation a little bit. That's a guy that you want tight to the line of scrimmage, comboing up edges, coming across the formation, chipping on his way out into a flat or a wheel. Dude's digging linebackers out of their position, completely eliminating corners from the play side equation. Right? The all-time leading receiver in Ohio State program history, for one thing. Number two, he's been Robin to somebody else's Batman for his whole career. No ego with this kid, right? Rich Eisen's source from a league executive who said that was one of the top 5 most impressive interviews that they've ever conducted. Because of the person, the IQ, the humility, the character, the physicality in the running game. He's very unique in that regard. Okay, maybe not the most upside. Right? I think Tet's got the most rare set of physical ability in this class. That's why he's my preference. He's my top choice. But I don't think you can go wrong, and I damn sure don't think that Emeka Egbuka would be a bad pick. Right? All that to say, the Cowboys can't get wiped out at 12. It's not possible. So don't worry about that. Tone setter. Ready for the test at the line of scrimmage. And then the way that he accelerates through the football, you never see him fight it. he just sort of accelerates through the ball. He hits that extra gear. You never see him throttle down or stutter step to make the play. It's just like
That's key.
he's got it.
In some ways, that's what people mean when they talk about game speed versus, straight line speed or combine speed or whatever. That's Emeka Egbuka. He's just simply put a guy that plays the position the right way. And, I obviously took the time to concoct a more professional explanation for what I mean by that with the article that I put out this morning. So I'll go ahead and just tap in to that a little bit too. CowboysCountry.com. And I guess I'll just start with what I just alluded to. One of the most underrated traits in Egbuka's game is how effortlessly he accelerates through the football, right? Never see him throttle down, never see him break stride. Shouldn't say never, but there's that element to his game that I think kind of flies under the radar a little bit. And he just sort of hits that second gear, and it's like he accelerates through the catch point because he's just so supremely confident in his hands. And it's just his overall ability as a player. Right? He's not just fast though. He's 4.4 speed, plenty fast, but not 4.29 like Matthew Golden necessarily, not 6.5 like Tet. No overwhelming trait, but just a well-rounded pro football player. Remember what Rich Eisen said? Is sort of a build off of what a lot of people in the Ohio State community know. Remember that viral clip of the Ohio State football players leading a sort of a faith-based revival on campus? Where thousands of students showed up to hear the message. You know who was right in the middle of that? Emeka Egbuka. And now some of y'all are going to jump to conclusions the way that you already have in my comment section on Twitter saying, "Oh, I don't want a blocker. I want a receiver. I want a receiver that actually receives the football." Well, you must have missed everything else that I talked about where it was supportive evidence for what potentially separates him relative to the rest of the pack right now. Day one impact, both phases of offense in the running game, which, by the way, directly reflects the attitude, the culture, the physical shift that Shadi has been preaching. And that everything that we've been seeing follows suit to what he's been saying, he and the entire coaching staff. So it's not just his ability to block. It's not just his faith. It's not just his character. It's all that. Oh, plus, yeah, the guy also happens to be the leading receiver in Ohio State program history. Despite never really being a number one option. It's always playing, like I said, the Robin to somebody else's Batman. No ego involved here. There's just a natural rhythm and a professional approach to his game that just feels primed for Sundays. It's no flash. It's not about that to him. He's a guy that's willing to do all the dirty work, right? It's about impacting both phases of offense and finding selfless football players. Brennan Marion, former University of Texas assistant coach, I'll never forget it. He always talked about, and one thing that resonated dating back to the 2022 season, how you play when you don't have the football. This was the receivers coach at the time, Brendan Marion. What you do without the ball determines how much you love your teammates. That's Emeka Egbuka. He may not break the internet like Matthew Golden or Xavier Worthy or Tedero McMillan with measurables and physical traits. But what I've said since 2023, dating back to the end of the Cowboys season 2 years ago, their organizational priority and focus must be on the mental traits from this point forward, if it wasn't already. They get it now. If they didn't then, they do now. Listen to them at the podium. Redraft press conference today. I counted on 4 occasions, and I probably missed it. I was sitting at the lunch table writing while listening. I could have definitely missed something, focusing on another task. Will, Steven, and Brian, on at least one occasion, finding out how much these guys love the game. That's the ultimate determining factor. Physical traits get you to the league. The mental traits are what keep you there. That's the fallacy within the NFL draft process. It's why it's so hard to hit. It's why the bust rate at the quarterback position, where the mental traits are infinitely more important, because you're actively having a process in real time. It's tough to measure those things. You got to really spend time getting to know him. Shotty reveals how half his day is spent. I'll link that video or that URL from the article that I wrote, because I think it's very telling. I think it's incredibly important, and I think more fans should be well aware of what he's talking about. It's a relationship business, but it's about getting to know the person, the people, and not just the player. That's Emeka Egbuka. Does all the little things right. Right. And so the whole point of this is there is no wipeout scenario for the Cowboys in round 1. Because guys like Emeka Egbuka and Kelvin Banks exist. And I'm sure there are numerous others. I just don't know them well enough yet. But the guys that the Cowboys take, you can make damn sure that they're going to check this box here that we're referring to as much as they check anything else physically. Just wait. Just wait. What we'll do tomorrow is transcribe the Cowboys presser, a little bit more detail. We'll go live, just answer some questions, kind of get a feel. The final hoorah, one last lap before the chaos commences on Thursday night. Until then, thank you to the official partner of the Lando Show. That QR code right there will take you to, in my opinion, the best and fastest growing golf apparel manufacturer in the game. I'll let the gear that I'm wearing on a daily basis for the last 18 months and hopefully for the next 18 years and counting and beyond speak for itself. Scan that code. The 10% discount's already built in for you. They got something for everybody. And the best part is you don't have to love golf to love Waggle. Get your wagglon.com, code HOSL10, but that's the QR code right there that will do all that for you. You ain't got to worry about remembering what the code is. It's built in. All right. with that, make sure I don't forget anything. That's it. All right, got to get out of here. Got to go pick up the girls up from school. Got to go get some dinner and kick back a little bit. Get ready for tomorrow. So I'll see you guys on the live. Make sure, this is one thing I'll oftentimes forget to say. Make sure you like the video for me. I hate saying it. I know some of y'all probably hate hearing it, but it's necessary because I'm just as guilty as anybody when I'm consuming content, which is rare these days because two small businesses, 2 small children, and 1 on the way. Life is fast and furious, but it's necessary because it's one of those things. It's the best, easiest, and also cheapest way to help me out. Other means are, as you can see right here, the Venmo and the Cash App are always listed in every description, so you can find me there too. It takes away that 30% that YouTube keeps from their super chat, from the super chat donations. YouTube keeps 30% of that. So if you want to circumvent that 30% and make sure that 100% goes to me, that's one way that you can do that. But if not, like I said, the best way to help and support is to like the video, assuming you're already subscribed. Tell a friend where to find me. The Sports Below the Surface Truth, for the true fan like yourself that deserves to hear it. All right? Prayer changes things. The war's already won. I will talk to you guys soon.